I'm Nancy Ives. I'm a 24-25 Pando artist in residence. After the premiere of Pando by Metropolitan Youth Symphony, the Friends of Pando reached out to me to tell me about their artist in residence program. And the opportunity to apply for that and have more interaction, actually much deeper interaction with Pando and do some more creative work was really thrilling. It was exciting to have the prospect of doing another work because I definitely did not feel like I had said everything I might want to say. It's such an inspiring topic. So the residency involved actually having support in visiting the tree and learning more about it. And I knew abstractly that actually being there in person would bring not just new knowledge, because that implies it's experiential, and music is not verbal anyway, right? So that experiential element can be incredibly important. And I was very, very comfortable and well supported. I'm trying to remember now, 2.5 days of getting to walk around, getting to see the surrounding area, and it absolutely led me places I didn't necessarily expect from the sort of abstract knowledge I had before. I took a cello, a carbon fiber cello, and would just sit down and play it a little. And I think before I went, I wasn't sure what form the musical product would take, but it became pretty clear to me that it was going to be a string quartet. So part of my decision to make it a string quartet was simply that by being there, I felt musically that the string instruments would be a great medium. I also had hopes that sometime I could have it be actually like the players could potentially be there and perform it in the tree. Don't know if and when that will happen, but the string quartet idea felt solid from the start. Then I was approached by 45th Parallel Universe, which is a large collective of fantastic classical musicians here in Portland, and one of the string quartets that's part of them was called Pixis Quartet, and they wanted a piece by me for one of their concerts, and I said, well, as a matter of fact, I'm working on one right now, and it's going to be very cool. So that was serendipity, because that's one of the things about classical composition. You need human beings to actually bring the music to life. The score may look pretty, but it doesn't make any sound. And this is going to have, for me to evoke the whispering, the creaking, the groaning, the wind, the rustling, all of that, it's going to have a lot of special effects that the synthesized version will not be able to realize very well. So We won't, part of it's always extremely collaborative when you're a composer in this realm, because other people are going to actually make the music exist as sound. The fact that music is a time-based art, and listening to music can affect our perception of the passage of time. And here we're talking about something that is so old, our brains cannot really comprehend that. So that, I decided, would be the main angle that I would use, coupled with another thing that I particularly enjoyed about it conceptually as an orchestra piece, which is that here is something that looks like many, 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 like 47,000 individual trees, that's actually one tree. And an orchestra is 80 to 100 people who look like individuals acting as one and making music as a single unit. So some of the things that really emerged for me from the visit that I want to explore in the quartet are this idea of how sometimes it's very homogeneous, lots of the same size of trunks, ramettes, and sometimes it's very mixed. And then there are voids, and there's a road. I mean, all these elements are part of a panorama that I can depict as sort of in a storytelling mode, and as if almost you're walking through it, although some of that would take longer than I will take in the music, but that various ways that Pando exists and is presented can also inform various different sections of the music. There's going to be creaking and groaning, which string instruments are good at doing, so that'll be fun. There's also just the idea of spreading that evokes certain kind of approaches to music for me. Just that notes start together, close together, and then they can spread farther and farther apart. With a string quartet, you have a pretty wide range. I got to see some of the relationship with the surrounding community when there were volunteers from the area there to help out, that the larger community is supportive and behind Pando's existence and what Friends of Pando is doing. And that really touched me. The idea of how people interact with their natural environment and how they feel about it. That's important. And so that's something that is definitely in there in the quartet. Exploring also musically, there's this idea of unison. And then, because it is all one entity, but it doesn't look that way and it doesn't sound that way. Different places in it, you hear really different sounds and you see really different sights. And the piece will definitely have that. It will have references to this oneness, and then that can fragment into the variety that you actually see when you're visiting Pando. These are some of the ideas that I'm really excited about having in the quartet that I had no idea about before I actually visited. So they did not appear in the orchestra piece because I didn't know. But now I do, and I want to give this sense of the panorama and all the variety.